In 3, 2, and we are live rolling. The Ray Powers Hour, top of the show. This is the new format. With me, I've known this guy a long time. I don't know if we can actually cop to knowing each other 15 years, because then they're going to know I'm not 25. I mean, good Lord, we met in school. He has been in a number of New Jersey bands. I guess you'd call them punk bands, for lack of a better term. He's got
rock and roll, right?
Rock and roll. He's got his own podcast called Cult of Contempt. Watch it every Wednesday, 8 o'clock Eastern. Is that correct?
8:15. Like TBS Superstation.
Nice.
15 minutes off just to be a dick.
Breakout star of the Garbage Pail Kids. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Paul Mauled. How are you, buddy?
Good, man. It's a nice... it's just nice to be home.
Right?
You know? I was home for like a year, and I thought it was the greatest thing ever until it wasn't, and I'm back in the office, and now I wish I was fucking home again, man.
Unbelievable.
Sorry, can I curse on here? That's why
You know, if the syndicates decide they don't want it, they'll bleep it out. It's cool.
Okay.
On New Visions, there's no censorship. On YouTube, obviously, there's no censorship, but they'll figure it out. It's cool. But see, I caught the reference with the Garbage Pail Kids. Paul Mauled.
You know, I caught that after.
Really?
Because the name came from, my friend smoked the Paul Mauled cigarettes, and he looked at it, he's like, yo, you should make this your stage name. And I was like, okay, and I just changed it, I liked how rappers would take something that's like Gucci and just make it like part of their name. Like, exactly. What are you going to do? Like
Luca Brasi and that kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah, you just do what you want, you know? There's a rapper named The Godfather, there's a rapper named Scarface. It's like, I'll just take Paul Mauled cigarettes.
Right. Good Lord. I was just looking back at some of the things we did together. I met you back in 2006, which is insane. You were this snot-nosed little kid, and I was a 30-something scumbag, let's face it, I was running the Blue Room stage with Dan Drake. He was running the whole joint. That was fun. That was an experience for a couple of years.
Quite an adventure.
You got to run a stage at Clash Bar, and I hope you feel some of the pain that, it's like, well, now he knows what we're going through, I'm glad you got to see that.
I'll tell you, I did. I never thought the Blue Room was really a bad place. It's just in a weird location.
Yeah. Which
never helped. It's like, you feel like you're going to get, murdered by people in the truck yard on the way there.
And they can just dump you in the back and nobody would have looked for you.
Yeah, that's definitely where they hide the bodies in Secaucus.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, man. It's infuriating to deal with musicians. It really is. Mm-hmm. This interview is infuriating. You're a musician. You're infuriating me. This is just all infuriating.
I'm glad this is triggering you because, it's therapy. It's going to help. It's like shock treatment. You have to go through it.
But I loved running the stage because, too, I thought I was going to get fired for it, for the way that I behaved. And I would, scream at people, do you see what this box says? Move your shit out of the way. You can't block the sound booth. This is an important place for me to go. Oh. They just, don't, look around you, ask somebody, where can I put my shit? Don't just put it in front of a door. That was, I would go nuts and scream at people, move your fucking shit or I'm going home. Fuck you all. And people would be like, oh, the sound guy is having a problem. But, Bob didn't give a fuck. Bob's like, I love this guy.
Yeah.
That's why I hired him.
I was going to say, I can't see Bob firing anybody.
Well, and when I used to play there, I never liked, I liked Ted now, but I never really liked when Ted was the sound guy because I always thought he was a dick. But now I kind of, understand why he was a dick. I was a way bigger dick than Ted. So... shout out to Ted. I love him from Flatus.
Yeah.
But I was a way bigger dick than you, Ted.
I know Ted going back to 1994, and I just dated him.
You know Ted a million years. You guys are super old.
I literally know him longer than not. I met him, I was 23, and I was fronting a Ramones tribute. They needed a singer. I was long, gangly, I had the long hair. I didn't dye it black. I said, if this really goes someplace, I'll make the commitment, or I'll just get the wig. And they're like, no, just go the way it is. We didn't really have the look, but we had this. The sound was perfect. But, I've known him a long time. We've been through a lot. I watched him with the Fiends, and you booked the Fiends, and we all... This community is so ridiculously small and incestuous. This North Jersey rock scene is crazy.
Yeah, not a lot of people in it. No. Like, when you really... Everybody's in everybody else's band. Like, there's no... It's not like there's, like, some band in this scene that, like, nobody ever heard of. You know what I'm saying? Like, in this scene, we all know... I feel like I know, like, all the local bands that have played around here for, like, the last, like, 15 years.
That's true. And just to give somebody a little bit of perspective, if you're not in northern New Jersey, if you're watching this in, like, Australia, Paul worked sound at a place called Clash Bar. It was a great place for young original punk bands to come up and showcase. The Blue Room, the reason it was so off the beaten path is because it had joined a go-go bar in Secaucus, which was the whole purpose of having the go-go bar, out of the way so that people's wives didn't, find them parked in the lot, You don't want it to be on the main thoroughfare. So that was done on purpose. And,
yeah.
The only problem is they gave us the extra space next door and said if you could do something with it, great. But it's free admission to a go-go bar or pay a $10 cover to hear loud bands. It was a tough sell.
Yeah. It was always fun when the strippers would come in.
Yeah.
And you think I do this because I want to? I'm a member of Mensa. It's like, get the fuck out of here. What are you... Stop. Dan would throw him out. Go back in there! Ah! Just yell at him. He had no patience for that.
No. Eat your patience up really quick. Michael Zuko still tells that corny dad joke. He's in the one of the side rooms, and he's, tuning up, he's restringing his guitar, and the girls come in there just changing into their new, outfits and stuff, and he goes, oh, you'll never believe this, I'm one string short, does anyone have a G string? And they were like, oh, collective groan. Like, man, I'm just trying to get through this shift so I can get back to my kids. Come on, man.
Yeah. I'm glad to see Michael Zuko's back out there.
Yeah. Yeah, he just needed a hiatus. The whole thing with I'm done, the whole Ozzy Osbourne, I'm retiring thing. I get it. It sold tickets. I'll probably do the same thing in 5 years, I'll end up dying on stage in my 90s, so... they own
better in the 90s.
Exactly, yeah. Actually, my early hundreds, I'll be happy. I'll just keel over and just fall into the first row. You're
going to look like the guy from the Six Flags commercial.
I remember that guy. The little early CGI guy.
Yeah.
That's going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
I'll have no muscle tone. My glass will be too big for my shrinking head. That's going to be fantastic.
Long ears.
Yeah. That's right. Your ears never stop growing. And your nose.
Yeah, your nose. Your nose will be like down to your fucking upper lip.
I'll be Squidward.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah. So, some of the bands that you've been in, obviously, it's been hit or miss. You've been, you fronted and started, I guess, the Bad Whoremoans, right?
Yeah, 15 years of beating it down.
Wow. I think it was the first band I knew of was the Pumpkin Patch, was kind of very derivative of, like, the Misfits.
It's the same thing, like, the same songs, really. Like, yeah. We just changed the name from the Pumpkin Patch because you couldn't find our shows because of a real pumpkin patch.
Right.
So it's impossible to find anything. That's a stupid name. I think the Bad Whoremoans is a stupider name. Like, I think I want to change it, but, like, at this point, what do I change it to?
Right.
Like, who's going to care anyway? But, like, yeah, I started that, and then I had another band in, I guess, like, 2009. Called the Ecstatics. That was like a garage punk rock like super group for me, with a drummer from the Misfits, and he was in Continental Crawler. We had one of those dudes from Continental Crawler, and then that was Mike, and then we had Steve, who was in the Victims, which was like an old school Lodi band, okay. And the guitar player for the Bad Whoremoans, Rob, and me. and it was that was like the Ecstatics. We did that for a couple of years, and in between, like the time I was in the Bad Whoremoans, I started the Bad Whoremoans and did that. I did the Undead with Bobby when I was like a punk kid. That's like kind of when I met you guys.
Yeah.
When I was like probably 20 or like 19, and like just like I guess the next victim over there. But
yeah.
no, but it was fun. Like honestly, that's the reason I learned music, was joining the Undead. It's like, you know, you could play E on a bass like 10 different ways.
Right.
And I only knew like the low way to play it. And he's like, no, press the 7th fret on the A string. Like, wait a minute, that's the same note?
Yeah.
And like I was all of a sudden like figuring out music. Like that's when it kind of clicked. Before that, all those songs I wrote, all the songs I played, I didn't know shit about music. I didn't know anything. Like I knew how to sing and I knew chords, but I didn't know what they were. I didn't know why I was playing them. And I think the music was like more fun for it, because like once I figured it out,
right.
I'm like,
now you're overthinking it.
Yeah, I overthink it all the time. But like, I don't know. There's something to be said for like Bobby, man. He really did show me. He showed me the Chuck Berry solo. He showed me all cool like bass runs. He really did show me a lot of good shit musically that definitely helped me write better songs. And also I was in the Accelerators. And the same thing for his songs. Like it's like super Ramones kind of stuff and like a lot of fun. I love that sort of stuff. And just playing, like, learn these 15 songs. Just learning those 15 songs made me a better musician in terms of like, oh, I could put a stop in a song. Oh, I could do, you know, whatever, like weird stuff that I never thought to do because I never had to play anything that was like that.
Right.
So, you know, for as weird as Ron gets, because he's a pretty meat and potatoes guy, but he does write some like kind of crazy shit once in a while. Like he hides it in there. It's like the Ramones. Like you think it's easy to play,
yeah, but
that's not really easy to play. You have to know every chord change you're going to do. It's not like the blues where you could kind of fake it.
Right.
Not the shit guys, but you know.
Yeah, you know, there's something to be said about that. Dee Dee Ramone never really learned how to read music, or he didn't know what he was doing. He's just like, here's the song. It's here, it's here, it's here, and it's here. And they were great songs. You couldn't, you know, it was amazing.
Great song's a great song.
Yeah. There's a lot of guys like that. They don't. Eddie Van Halen didn't read music. I couldn't believe that. I mean, he was a trained pianist. I don't understand how he just memorized it.
You actually could read sheet music and play bass or guitar?
Very slowly. But
if somebody writes the chords out on top of the words, like, isn't that easier for you than sheet music?
Much easier, but there's times where like I'll have like an oldie show and there'll be like a new musical director, and I will get music in bass clef, actual staff, and I'm like, oh, great. So now my whole sound check is me, you know, learning this stuff because it's different arrangements, even if it's slight. So, you know, I did actually going back to St. Mary's and playing at Mass once a month helped me because all that stuff is in sheet music. Although for the organ they do have the cheat chords on top. But I was forcing myself to kind of learn again because I played piano for 4 years as a kid. I learned, classically trained and all that. And of course, by the time I was 10, I forgot it all. And, you know, I had enough of it to basically, you know, I knew theory at that point. I have perfect pitch, so I could pull an E out of thin air. And I know most of the, you know, like, I could pick out, I don't know all of the modes and everything else. I didn't go to Berkeley, but I could get by. You know,
yeah.
So I was able to.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's okay. But you know, a lot of guys on tour these days don't. But back in the day, they all did. You wouldn't get your union card unless you could read music. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, yeah, it's like a mind-blowing thing. Like I learned to sight read. I could kind of sight read vocals. Yeah. But, like, I'll tell you, man, like, the actual sitting down and learning of, like, how to play drums, like, I consider myself a mediocre garbage drummer, but I arrange a lot of drums playing, like, half speed. had arthritis too. I can't be hitting hard and shit. Like I'm, but like I'm not very good at it. But I play half speed, like what I want, and like make it the tempo I want it to be. Like I know what a drummer can do and what a drummer can't do.
Right.
And like the thing, like I play like my keyboard parts. Like I don't know why I'm playing these things. Like I know, okay, this is an A, this is a D, but like I don't really know once you get to the black keys, like I can't play you like an F sharp chord.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But I try to just learn as much of what about all that stuff. Like, because I never wanted to rely on anybody. I'll tell you, being in a band and dealing with musicians for millions of years, like, I got to a point where it's like, okay, this guy's hitting on a minor. This guy fucking left his drums in his car for a year, and now they're all warped. Like, everybody's got problems.
Every story possible.
So, like, I got to a point where I just started, like, learning to play drums. Not even well, just to be able to, like, articulate the idea that I want to get across. And I got really damn good at it, almost to the point where it's like, I don't need to do a band anymore. I do a band now because I want to.
Right.
But, like, we play, like, 4 times a year. We got one coming up in July. We got one coming up in October. We played, I forget what month it was, maybe April. And it was awesome. It was fun, Like, I love doing it because it's fun. When it doesn't become fun anymore, then I don't do it.
Right. Now, one thing I noticed, because I follow you on all the platforms, the amount of songs you've written since I've met you. I mean, do you have any idea how many songs you've written over the years?
Probably like 500.
I was going to say it had to be up in the hundreds. If you had said 1,000, I wouldn't be surprised. But you probably have as many ideas sitting on like a reel somewhere, so to speak.
Well, that's the other thing too. Is like I have like instrumentals that I've written that have no lyrics. Like I have like sheets and sheets of lyrics that have no instrumentals. I never really refer to one or the other. Sometimes if I have to do something in a pinch, if somebody needs something like, oh, we got this movie and we want, something or whatever, some weird shit, I'll bust out some old demo that I like dig and find and drop vocals on it and fix it up a little bit and put it out there. But like, I don't know. A lot of that stuff is just kind of forgotten until somebody like needs something weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wrote a lot of stuff. I think like there's probably like 150 that are actually like released. Like if I look on Spotify between the two bands, Dead, it's a lot of stuff. It's like 10 albums.
Yeah, I mean, I know the Bad Whoremoans. I've got like 4 or 5 of my own. So I mean,
yeah, there's 5 Bad Whoremoans records. There's 4 Bad Whoremoans records and like a greatest hits where we re-recorded a bunch of songs.
Okay.
But there's like a couple of like I had like solo records. I have like so much stuff. I can't even keep track of it anymore. Somebody does. My friend's putting it on Discogs for me.
Oh,
Shout
nice.
out to my. He's hooking me up with that because I'm just like I don't care about that. Same thing with ASCAP. I'm terrible at it.
Hey, listen, if you get an errant check here or there, it's like that's all good. I don't remember doing this song, but okay, if you say so.
I'll tell you, man. I'm finally hitting that point on streaming where I like. It's like, this isn't really a bad thing. Like, yeah, I don't make like enough money to make even a car payment or something, but like, I don't know, man. You put enough stuff out there. I try to put different stuff out there too. Like, I try to do like an acoustic thing. I try to do a little of this, a little of that, hoping that it all kind of just funnels into the whole mess.
And it's different playlists too, if it's a little more diverse.
Exactly. Yeah, I love some diversity, and so like I don't know. It's starting to I'm seeing the results of it, I guess, and it's just I don't know. It's fun, man. I never got into this to be like a rock star or famous or whatever. I did it because it's like therapy to me, and I like telling a story or I like making people laugh or say about something messed up or whatever. But the fact that people like it and it resonates with people and people like covered my songs and stuff like that, like I love that, man. I feel that, and I really appreciate that.
I have to admit, you know, I got into this for all the wrong reasons. It was to get paid, to get laid, and, you know, the fame and fortune. If it keeps you on the road, I mean, you know. But of course, I do love the music. You can't do it just for the paycheck. I mean, you know, you have to be invested in it. I mean, you know, or otherwise it's going to be, if this is work, I mean, that's got to be the worst grind in the world, especially if you're touring all the time and you hate it. I couldn't imagine that kind of lifestyle.
Yeah. I try to keep it more about like fun videos and stuff I could do that's progressing my music forward, but not necessarily like wear and tear. Or I have a career too. I can't talk about it, but like that takes up a lot of my time.
Sure.
And you know, and I would have loved to not have to ever have had that career. And I like to think that if I walked away from college in my 20s and really put myself to it, I would have learned a lot of stuff a lot quicker. And I think my music would have progressed to maybe a point, like, I don't know, I remember our first album, we had like 26,000 streams on MySpace, like in the first couple of days of it. Like,
wow.
And I didn't think anything of that. You know, it was just like, oh, this is just what happens when you have a band.
Exactly.
People stream your shit and buy it, and that's it. Like, we sold a ton of those things online. Like, that CD, with the red one with the chick on it, like, a bunch of people bought the first record. Like, I probably pressed like 500 of those, which for me now is like a lot. Like, I pressed maybe 100, 200 or something.
You get the minimum, man. If you need more, you get them. Exactly.
Yeah, I can't be bothered like sitting on, you know, sometimes I'll make an order of like 50 just to restock. Like, I don't really press a lot of stuff anymore, but like back then it was like a necessity. People kept ordering it for our first album. Like, we came out and it was, I guess we were like the new toy to play with. Like, people were like all interested. It's like, oh, a new band, I never heard of them. Like, I guess we weren't bad comparatively to like our peers.
You were different too, so you stood out, which I always tell people, be yourself. No matter how odd you think you are, that's only going to work for you. The more you stand out, the better.
Yeah. And people, I always thought too, like, I go into every show, especially if I like dressed up or whatever, like makeup and all weird shit, like expecting to get like a hard time, but not projecting the image of like a guy looking for a problem. But like, I expect to get like, so if I wear makeup, somebody's going to be like, fag, you know, whatever. Like, you know, like, I couldn't care less. But, like, I always just expected that shit. And honestly, we never really even got it that much. Like, most people were like, oh, cool, you guys remind me of the Damned or whatever. Like,
right.
You know, whatever weird thing it was. But people were always cool to us. And I don't know, we always had a good time. Like, that's one thing, too, I always loved about our shows. We always had a good time. Sometimes at the expense of our show.
Or the proprietor, or else, you know, maybe someone in the crowd, or, you know, it happens. I mean, it's changed so much. I mean,
yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, just back, you mentioned MySpace, and I'm thinking the way everything has changed in the past 15, 16 years, when that was your platform. You had a space. So many people liked it better because it was like a landing page, and you can actually look at dates, and they were always there. Now it's like with Twitter and Facebook, it's like, you know, scroll back all these weeks and you lose it. You know, and it's set up so that you have to advertise to keep it fresh.
I also remember too bands that kind of like made it on MySpace. There was time place bands that was almost like a gold mine. Like, if you could get it out to all these people and, you know, they could vote for you here and do this, you know, you'll be on MTV or you'll be on here or whatever, here or there, like, you know, and that happened to like a lot of bands real quick that became like bands that people know, but they're all from like around here, like Yellow Card, like My Chemical Romance, and like all those bands that really hit hard on MySpace. I don't know, it was just crazy. Like, I could have ridden that wave, right? I could have ridden it.
Yeah, who knew, right? I didn't realize Yellow Card was that local.
I'm pretty sure Yellow Card was My brother used to go to a music store, and I'm pretty sure it was the singer of Yellow Card that worked there, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
Probably. You know, I got a little note, old school. I got passed a note saying, your Discog buddy, the name got dropped. Your hookup with Discog. Who was that again? For your shout out?
My friend Dom.
Dom, yeah. I didn't hear it either.
Oh yeah, Dom Calzola. He's a good dude.
Okay. I thought maybe it was just me, but I was like, no, okay. I didn't want it to get lost. Cool. Well, if you have some time, we got a couple minutes left. I did have the foresight to get some email from people, and they look like they're all smartasses from around this area. So, you want to go hot seat on this and see if we could, offend some more people, or maybe we'll get offended. Who knows?
Do it.
We'll open it up. I've got Jerry from Essex County. That could be right in your backyard. It could be the person on the other side of your wall, for all we know. They want to know your favorite Clash Bar memory. Holy cow.
My favorite Clash Bar memory is also my least favorite Clash Bar memory. When I OD'd. No. Pink Mask. Pink Mask wore, like, gimp masks and smacked each other with fluorescent lightning bulbs.
I was at that night.
Yeah, I will never, ever, ever forget Pink Mask and just the feeling of who is going to clean this up. But it's also my favorite night because they did a very good job of cleaning it all up.
Every bit. I mean, I couldn't believe that they had vacuums, they had everything. It was just insane. We were just all speechless. We were really just like looking at it, just like, okay.
Did you play that night?
No, I don't think so anyway. Maybe I did. I was definitely there, and I was with a bunch of friends, so very possibly, but we were just kind of like just looking at each other going, all right. You know, if I did play that night, I definitely got upstaged.
I was like shitting my pants. I'm just like, oh no, because what made me nervous is I sound like such a Karen. They were swinging the fluorescent lights like against the people.
Yeah.
Like towards the crowd. Like
right.
When they're swinging the light and it breaks on the guy, the glass is going into the crowd. If they did it the other way, so it went back, like the glass isn't going to break the mirror, It is what it is. But like, it was making me nervous that glass was flying at eye level into a crowd of a very rowdy crowd of people. I probably would have loved the glass baptism.
Go home with glass in your eye. Yeah, hey, look cool, man.
Yeah, I can't see
contacts.
it. I saw Pink Mask for the last time. That was good.
For the last time. Is there anything for the last time?
But yeah, I think that's my favorite Clash Bar memory.
Wow, that was definitely my most, like, probably surreal moment. I don't know. I'd have to really think about it. Let's see, I've got Jen, who will remain anonymous as far as where she's from. Parts unknown, like the Ultimate Warrior. Wants to know if there's a...
Final sacrifice.
That's right, load up the plane, right?
Load up the plane, Hulk Hogan.
It's Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan. What did Jennifer say?
Jennifer wants to know the song. I'm trying to decipher this here. The song you wish you wrote. Okay, that's what I got out of that message. What song is out there that you wish you had written? You hear it on the radio and go, damn it, I wish I wrote that one.
Love Song by the Damned.
Matt's listening right now and he's smiling. I learned all the Damned songs through Matt. I
nice.
Hadn't even heard of them.
Play, right?
What's that?
Did you guys play some of that stuff in your band when you guys had like a cover band?
77 did like 4 or 5 of them. Is Smash It Up by the Damned?
Yeah.
That's the big one, right? That's the one everybody knows.
Yeah, Smash It Up.
It's got the weird time change right before the hook, yeah. Like the extra half measure in there. I had to learn that. And I always had to count it in my head, yeah. Yeah, he loves the Damned. They're from Cleveland, right?
What happened?
I said they're from Cleveland, right?
The Damned? No, they're from England.
Oh, I'm thinking of the Dead Boys. I'm sorry.
Oh, the Dead Boys rule, too.
Yeah. Too many D's, Dead Boys. Same time frame, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, pretty much. like this, 75, 76, I think. I think The Damned came out in 76, I feel like.
Machine Gun Etiquette, right? That's the big album.
Yeah, it could be 74. I don't know. I don't know that shit. I'm old. I'm not that old.
Nah, it's I was
before my.
Me too.
And it's
believe
above
it or not.
my other favorite thing, above my pay grade.
There you go. Me too, believe it or not. Like my hot zone was like 77 to 83, 84, and I'm talking like 6 to 12 years old there. So I kind of missed that real early New York Dolls kind of thing. That was like
you got when it got kind of like I don't want to say shitty, but
a little bit. Very, very like all the Lunchbox groups, Kiss and Sean Cassidy, and like when that started, yeah, that's when I really started listening to music and I collected records. The Bee Gees were back again for the third time. They were huge. Squire.
Wait, the Bee Gees like stopped 2 times?
They didn't stop 2 times, but like they broke up in the late 60s because, Robin wanted to be the lead singer. They were all telling him, you don't need your brothers anymore. And yeah, they put out a best of in like 69. And they disbanded. Yeah, they disbanded for a second, I think. But Robin definitely went solo for a minute and then came to his senses and came back. And they had, in 74, 75, they hooked up with Reef Martin, made Jive Talkin' and Nights on Broadway. I guess, I guess it was just another plateau. And then by the time they did the thing with Stigwood, the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack, then it just became like, this big and just never came down.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, they were huge.
They were the biggest thing on the planet for like 2-3 years. From 77 to 80, they were just constantly. And Spirits Have Flown way better than anything on the soundtrack, which I love.
Speaking of the Bee Gees, did you ever cross paths with Frank Stallone back in the day? I feel like you would have been around the time when he was performing.
He was doing the clubs like the Palladium and stuff. He was huge because obviously, his brother.
Rocky's brother.
Yeah, that kind of helps. But he had that big hit on Staying Alive, the movie. I know that's where you thought of it. I love that song. Great stuff. I was listening to WAPP in 1983. They were playing that constantly. That was a big rock station back then. NEW, PLJ was playing rock, pure rock. Pat St. John, Tony Pigg, Meg Griffin, those jocks came from these great FM stations. WPIX was playing rock before they went to easy listening love songs. Good God, that's all I did back then. Just went.
That's a good old.
Yeah, up and down the FM dial. That's all I did. And the guys behind me, like Mad Mike and Zuko, they remember AM as being the big standard. It's crazy. And now it's satellite, it's XM, it's digital radio, it's the Wild West.
It's not even, the way people consume music now is so much different.
Yeah.
Like, Spotify curates a playlist of bands you might like, and it's like, you might get into new stuff, you might hate it, like, who's to say, but I don't know, it's so weird with the streaming and the algorithms and all this, like, I love looking at other bands that are, like, similar to me.
Yeah.
Like, according to Spotify.
I do like on Amazon Prime where they give you, like, the like it or hate it. You kind of can give it a thumbs up, a thumbs down right away. And so we'll give you more songs like this, and you can kind of make your own list that way.
It adjusts it for you. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's like, okay, cool, we'll give you more of this, or sorry, not so much of this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good shit, man. I don't know. I kind of like that. Like, I'll put that on sometimes at work. We have an Alexa. I guess that's always spying on us.
Oh, yeah. I have a spy puck.
Big Brother's watching.
Always watching.
But, like, I'll put on weird stuff sometimes. I like to put on Goodbye Horses and do the dance from, Silence of the Lambs. Like Buffalo Bill.
What's the one record that would shock people that you have? They go, oh my God, you have this? That I would never, ever imagine Paul Mauled owning this record.
Oh, Connie Francis. I have like 20 Connie Francis records. I love Connie Francis.
Yeah, she was the standard.
Yeah. I was always into like a lot of... People call me a misogynist, but I love chick singers. Leslie Gore, Cilla Black, Connie Francis... listen to all that like old shit. I love Britney Spears too. That's another one. I cover Britney Spears. That's how much I respect what Britney Spears does.
Did I actually do Baby One More Time? I'm thinking I did.
No, I never did Baby One More Time. I do If You Seek Amy.
Okay. I've seen male artists do that. Okay.
But like, I mean, I always loved like chick singers, especially, I don't know, more in the older days, because I feel like it was more about singing and less about like special effects.
Yeah.
Like you had to have something back in the day to record something. And
it wasn't just watch me shake my ass. You had to have talent.
Yeah, those girls weren't even. Not to say Connie Francis like wasn't hot, but like when Nancy Sinatra was smoking. But like Connie Francis was, by conventional standards, like she was pretty, but like she wasn't like, oh, she's so hot, like.
Or you had
she could sing.
You had to be pornographic to sell records.
It didn't matter what you looked like. They would take. It's so horrible with the shit they would do back in the day, like with Milli Vanilli. They would take somebody that like looked the part and like, oh yeah, lip sync these songs.
The guy behind the curtain was like, someone at a bus stop. some fat dude going to work.
Yeah, it's like the craziest thing, like how much image all of a sudden mattered at some point. I don't know when that happened. I guess after the 70s. I don't know. I can't pinpoint it, but
it peaked when MTV came out, because now it's like, oh my God, is that what they look like? Whoa. Get them dressed, or if you could do anything for them. It killed a lot of bands. It really did. The Buggles song was legit. Video killed the radio star in a lot of cases. When I auditioned for a band that was going to play Studio One, the whole shebang in 1988, 89, 90, I get major management on the phone from somebody who was a decent band. First 5 questions had nothing to do with music. What's your inseam? How long is your hair? Do you have any giant zits? Or how tall are you? Literally, it could be what could be your eye. What is your eye color? And then it's like, if you pass that, it's like, well, can you play your instrument too? Well, that's great too. And if not, we could teach it on the road. We'll figure it out. But it was all about the video. It was all about, it was all about the 8x10.
Yeah.
That, because your press kit that's how you got booked. They looked at you, and if you looked good, you must have sounded good.
That's what I always love, is like watching the bands that, like TSOL, I feel like is the perfect example of like, they were like a punk band. They started out as a great punk band, and then became kind of like a Danzig thing a little bit, and then became like a full-on like almost Guns N' Roses, like LA Guns, like hair metal.
Yeah, it got
with none of the original members. Like it just like evolved to that point. Like that it lasted that long, like a zombie band.
I didn't think it was the same band. I thought it was like a copyright issue. I was like, that can't be them.
It's like, it is technically like the same band, and then like the real original guys like reformed their band that they started. Yeah. That was different. Like they got the rights back to it, but like crazy. It's just a crazy thing that they lasted that long through all these different eras of music, and like that blows my mind. That's like, it's almost like posers, like. Mm-hmm. All right, so we'll just do whatever's hot now. Like we started as a punk band, and then all the guys that wanted to start a punk band left, and it just became like, well, what can we do now? I never want to be that.
And now we're living in a time where we're seeing that. It's kind of surreal. We're seeing like bands like Rat, like fighting over a trademark and fighting over social media. It's like, Bobby Blotz is going out as Rat. It's just the drummer with 4 other guys. Quiet Riot's got no original members. It's like, what's going on? And these guys are still alive. Like, you could go get the original guys. But when you have 2 and 3 groups touring, it's crazy.
Egos.
Yeah.
Dude, so I'll tell you, man, running like the convention scene and stuff, like, those old dudes have ego, which is really weird. It's like, dude, you're playing in a fucking church. Like, maybe this is your sign from God. Like, you should be a little more humble.
A little bit, like, yeah.
Some of these guys, man, like, especially too, like Ace Frehley, he has no business charging anybody like $5,000 for a signing.
No, I wouldn't pay Gene that, but he's worth it. I mean, he's going to get it. I got to
pay that.
Yeah, I got to open for Ace at Starland, And of course, the other guys were hanging out, and he wouldn't come up the bus until the very last minute. I get it, but at the same time, it's like, come on, what this digital media has done is it's really brought the stars and the fans together. Like, you really feel like you're all in the same room now. There's that hierarchy's kind of gone. That whole unavailability is gone. Now the appeal is the approach. It's like you can go to a VIP show for a lot of money and hang out with your favorite rock stars. They don't even call them fans anymore. They're like followers and friends. It's like, hey, these are my people. So it's changed a lot.
Yeah, it's crazy, man, how the business changed. To watch it with music, to watch it wrestling, like all of it, it's the same thing. Like seeing, Jake the Snake and like Scott Hall and all those guys like realize that there's people out there that actually want to like meet them and are interested in what they have to say, and it gives them a sense of purpose. Like it's got its good too, but like I don't know, man. Some of the guys get a little greedy.
Can you believe guys like Jake the Snake and Ozzy Osbourne have like outlived their contemporaries who seemed like, how do you outlive Randy Savage and Ultimate Warrior? Guys who look
how do you outlive Lemmy? Like I feel like Lemmy and Randy Savage are like the analogs of their two respective places. Like that blows my mind that those two guys, and Warrior too, are dead. Like, Ozzy's still kicking. And Iggy too, man. God bless him.
I know. It's crazy.
He did a great album with the guy from Queens of the Stone Age. Gardenia, I think it's called. Very good.
Yeah. I've got time for one more of these questions. I think I have one more if you'd like this last one, and we can go out on a high note or a low note. We'll see where it goes. JD of Clifton, New Jersey. Holy cow. It's like they're watching us. Most annoying habit of a band taking the stage or leaving the stage?
A band showing up and asking me to sound check when they play third, but they're there super early. And I have to give props too, because if they're there on time early, that's great. But a sound check for when you're headlining at the beginning of the night, and two other bands are going to go on, and everything's going to get moved, and I could take a picture, and I could do this, and I could do that. By the time you get on the stage, it's not going to be the same setup. Something is going to have to be swapped out. Something's going to be different. The channel's going to be different. Something. And so that's pet peeve is like, can we sound check now? It's like, well, you could, but it's a complete waste of time. All right, we're gonna. Okay, great. Like if that makes you happy, do it. But that's annoying to have to do like an extra set because
unless you're just doing like a half a chorus and you just want to see like my instrument actually works. I mean, to me, it is a waste because, and then you'll get these bands that want to check like these like, oh, I'm on my micrometer off. I could use a few more hertz. It's like, dude, when this room fills up, nothing is going to sound like it does now. Everything changes with people in the room. The heat, everything. I mean, they just don't get it. It's like, if you've been doing this for years, you should know this.
I'll give you two, like, oh, turn me up. Most of the time, when they say that, like, oh, turn me up louder, da, 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 da. Like, the audience can hear them fine.
Right.
I just turn them up in their monitor, like, and they think it's like, oh, yeah, good job. Like, I think there's people that don't know there's monitors, I don't know if they haven't figured it out. Like, there's bands that definitely came in there and just didn't stick around to like learn anything. And that's like the worst when you just come and play and then just leave. Like, oh, your girlfriend took a picture and then you go home and post it on the internet. Like, oh, good for you. You're awesome. But like, you're not. You're a jerk off. And that's another thing is like, stick around. Watch the show. You don't have to get shit hammered and drive home. You could be responsible, but stick around. Join the party, join the show, watch what's going on, take something away from it. Because I've never watched a band and with nothing to take away. I always took something away. Either, oh, that's something I should do, or, oh, God, that's something I should never do.
Yeah. Well, if they're self-absorbed, then they're probably not cognizant of either monitors or showing the courtesy of just hanging out for the other bands, as that first band had to do for you. So, yeah.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? I mean, people are selfish, and like you said, people suck. But
I just make fun openly. That's what I do. Like, I literally would, like, tag bands and shit. Like, oh, this guy wants to leave. What a jerk off. Like, I just don't care. I'm psychotic. But for the rest of you, don't do that. Don't behave like me.
Don't be Paul.
Don't. Is that it?
I think that's it, man. I think we wore out our welcome. Both of us. I'm sure we've been canceled all over the place, and we'll see how long this stays up on YouTube. But go check out Paul Mauled. His show is called Cult of Contempt, 8:15 every Wednesday on the East Coast. And I'll be seeing you real soon.
I will be seeing you real soon. Thank you very much for having me, Ray Powers. Be well.
Thanks, bud.
Everybody, peace.
The Ray Powers Hour.